I've personally spent more than $15 million on Facebook ads over the past few years with a significant return on ad spend, and I've helped thousands of health experts do the same. And today I'm going to share with you 7 major mistakes you're going to want to avoid if you want to scale your Facebook ads. So the first mistake is really obsessing over targeting instead of the messaging. Now, iOS 14.5 a couple years ago really messed up a lot of businesses, mostly because they didn't know how to adjust and pivot. So what happened, obviously with those tracking issues and like you couldn't get conversion events back to Facebook appropriately, blah, blah, blah. But one of the things that's happened obviously since then is this continual pruning of audiences. So if you were previously like in the health space, previously you could target Dr. Oz and very specific people. Now you can't, right? Now in some spaces, there's a little more flexibility with some of those options still, but generally they've called away a lot of audiences. And so what does that mean? A lot of people freaked out and they said, I can no longer target my audience. But smart advertisers understood that it was never about the audience. I mean, like when I started running ads on Facebook in 2013. Like even before iOS 14, I'm like, why is no one understanding that it's never about the audience? It's about the message, right? So the beautiful thing about this, like think about how advanced Facebook/Meta is now. The algorithm is so good that they have taken away audiences, specific audience for whatever reason, whether it's privacy, policy shit, or whatever else. A lot of our best campaigns are to broad audiences. I'm talking about men and women 30 to 60. That's it. And we deal with a very specific niche, health professionals who want to build a business online. Okay, it's like a niche within a niche. Our total addressable market size in North America and the UK is about 2.5 million people. How is our best ad campaigns, not all the time, but a lot of times, targeting 125 million people broad? It's because of the messaging. So what happens is when you put really clear messaging out there, attention health professionals who want to get clients online, ... as an example, those types of people will pay attention. And then they click the ad, they go to the thing, they opt in, and now that conversion feeds back into Meta. And Meta's like, oh, you want those people? Cool, we'll show your ad to more of those people. And that's the key, good, clear messaging in the ad and the landing page with respect to the offer. Because remember, the algorithm is so advanced that it will give you exactly what you're asking for, and we'll get to that in just a moment. The second mistake is making it too easy for people to say yes. Now, I differ very strongly here with a lot of people when it comes to advertising. Everyone's like, the purpose of the ad is to get the click. I get that. I understand that. The purpose of the ad is to stop the scroll, get the click, that's it. However, it depends on what you're selling. If I'm selling a pen, right? I don't give a shit how committed someone is. But if I'm selling a coaching program or a service where I need that person to be somewhat engaged in the process, I need my marketing to invoke commitment. And so therefore we have seen, and what we help our clients with, is more friction in their marketing. Now, it's not to say that you have to have a ridiculous amount of friction, but what I'm suggesting is instead of a 1 or 2 sentence ad, maybe it's a couple paragraphs. It's a longer story-based ad copy that really romances and pulls people in. It goes to a page that is congruent with that ad, and then they opt in our case, to a webinar. Oh my God, Yuri, people don't have time these days to watch a webinar. That's fucking bullshit because they have time to watch Netflix. Okay, so don't ever buy that story because it's only limiting you. Do you think you will get more committed people if they download a 1-page cheat sheet, which by the way, they won't even download in their email. 50% of people even check the download email. Or will you get more committed people if they opt in to watch a webinar or a masterclass or a video and they watch 10, 20, 50 minutes of it? The answer is obvious. So if you want better quality leads and clients, your marketing needs to reflect that. And part of your job is to find that sweet spot of flow and friction. Because yeah, you can run a 1-sentence ad with a click. Yeah, go over here. And then you can have an opt-in page, which is so super basic and simple. People don't even know what they're opting in for. And if the whole process is like that, don't be surprised when you get shit quality leads. The US Marine Corps has an amazing saying, which is fundamentally the basis of all of our marketing, which is if you want the most, make it easy. If you want the best, make it hard. And the same thing applies with advertising. If you're using advertising to bring clients into your world, you have to find the right balance of ease/flow and hard/friction. Okay, third mistake when it comes to running ads, and this is going to go across every platform, is relying on broken tracking. So if you don't know which ads are producing results, it's like you're flying a plane in a mountain chain with no visibility and no altimeter. Like that is a very, very dangerous thing to do, and you're going to lose a lot of money very quickly. So when iOS 14.5 happened, obviously it basically severed the communication between a bunch of attribution events or conversion events back into Meta or Facebook. And so you could set up things like server-side tracking, and I'm not going to get into the details of that, but there are platforms out there, whether it's Wicked Reports, Hyros, or you can manually do this with UTMs to ensure that the ads you're running are being tracked on the back end to very specific actions, whether it's lead, cost per call booked, client enrolled, etc. But if you do not have that visibility, you got to figure that out. And that's one of the most important things that we've helped our clients with. And that's how our clients were able to navigate iOS 14.5 like seamlessly. Initially, there was a panic. I'm like, guys, we've already figured this out. Don't worry. We only teach what we personally master, right? So the very same way that we run ads, we call the reverse scaling method, is exactly what we help our clients who are health professionals do with their ads, right? We strongly recommend that our clients learn how to manage their ads. It takes about 5 to 10 minutes a day. They don't need to be professional media buyers, not in the way that we do things. And so I've been running ads for a very, very long time, and I've done all sorts of different, there's never just one way of doing it. But what we have found to be the most effective is this reverse scaling method, which we help our clients do in their business. And part of this is obviously the attribution piece and how it's tracking properly. But if you don't have the tracking set up, you got to make sure that that's done properly, because otherwise you're just pissing money down the drain. Mistake number 4 is optimizing for the wrong objective. As I mentioned earlier, Meta is very, very, very good at giving you exactly what you ask for. So the algorithm is way more advanced than it was 5 years ago. And that's why the benefit of going broad now is that Facebook will find your people. But here's the problem. And I've run many tests and I've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars learning this lesson several times over, is you always get what you pay for. Okay, so I'll give you a couple examples. So there are people that advertise out there that do top of funnel video ads. Okay, so content, maybe 20 to 60 seconds of value, and then they'll retarget those viewers with a conversion campaign. Okay, makes sense, right? Makes sense. And maybe it did a couple years ago, but at least in our case, when we have tested this, here's what's happened. A very specific example: about 2 years ago, we spent $27,000 and change on that type of thing. We produce a lot of content. So like, hey, let's warm up to cold audiences, top of funnel, value add videos for people who consume 50% of those, or whatever the percentage was. We'll then show them our main event type of ads, right? Click here, opt in for the webinar, whatever. And in that whole process, it was shocking how bad the results were. The results were so bad, it took me days to kind of think about why this was happening. I'm like, this doesn't make sense to me. How is it possible? And check this out. We actually tested top of funnel, so 30 to 60 second value videos. We retargeted those people who watched 50% of those to a longer, like YouTube video-esque on Facebook. So we're not just going to send you to a conversion yet. We're going to go short form content to a 20-minute video in some cases. And it was crazy. The 50% of viewers, 95% watch time on the longer ones. So the percentage of people that were watching the 20-minute videos was crazy. We're paying like dollars for a 95% view on a 20-minute video. So this is the second layer, okay? And then we said, all right, well, if they've watched that and this, then we'll show them the webinar ads. I'm like, obviously that's going to convert better. And it was one of the worst campaigns that we've ever run. I think in that whole $27,000 in ad spend, we may have had one call that was booked. Now, maybe I'm missing something, but I was so stumped. I'm like, what am I missing? And then I started to realize, I'm like, well, maybe Facebook just gave us exactly what we asked for. Because the top 2 campaigns, the objective was video views. So Facebook said, oh, you want me to show this to people who watch videos on Facebook? Boom. So then what happened is that pool of people who then became the retargeting audience for the conversion objective, were not people who were going to convert anyways. And I was like, man, this is crazy. I'll give you another example. So running profile visit ads to Instagram. This is phenomenally interesting. So again, I'm sharing what I've seen in our business. And I have other friends that run profile visit ads to their Instagram profile, and it's done well. But in our case, for a moment, we actually had a really good ROAS on that. And then it stopped working for whatever reason. So we were spending, thousands of dollars a week pushing content, like boosting content with the objective of visit profile. So people click on the ad, they go back to the Instagram profile. But then we started looking at people following us and engaging in the DMs. We're like, these are not even our clients. Like, they're not health professionals. They're just like fucking randos. And so we turned it off. So that happens. We'd spend tens of thousands of dollars, and it was just like, who are we? Like, we're building this followers. We're not paying for followers. We're boosting content. They followed us as a result of that, but it wasn't generating much business. And so then we said, screw that. Let's just go back to the conversion objective with our webinar ads. So we start, pumping hundreds of thousands of dollars back into our webinar ads. And all of a sudden, our views on Instagram start going through the roof. And the people following us were exactly the right types of people, for the most part, that we want to serve. I'm like, huh. And so we started noticing this pattern. Every time we dropped our ad spend, our profile visits went down. And we're not even optimizing for profile visits. We're optimizing for conversion events on a landing page to opt in and book a call. And so I started thinking, okay, number one, we know that the impressions and reach and views of our content on Instagram will always be directly related to how much money we spend on our ads, even if the ads are not boosting that content. So we're running ads only to webinar, okay? But as a byproduct, people click on our profile, go to our Instagram link, and they're like, oh, cool. And here's the funny thing. As a byproduct of running conversion-based events, we were getting better followers on Instagram, better DMs, more people enrolling in our programs from those DMs, and it's because of who the ads are being shown to. So if you look at Facebook's audiences as a pie, there's a percentage of those people who are premium, right? They're like the first class, business class flyers. I'm using that metaphorically, okay? Those are the people who are going to convert. Those are the people who are going to book calls. Those are the people who are going to buy shit. And if you were optimizing your campaigns to those people, you will get better results across the board. But if you want to play the top of funnel, video views, clicks, you will get absolute fucking garbage. And I'm just sharing what I've seen in our accounts over the past several years. I have seen this to be the truth every single time. And so all of this to say that if you're optimizing for the wrong objectives, your campaigns are not going to perform well, assuming you want buyers. Hey, we'll get back to the video in just a moment, but if you're enjoying this content, hit that subscribe button below. It will help me sleep a lot better at night. But more importantly for you, it'll help you build your dream a lot faster. So go ahead, subscribe, and we'll get back to the show. Mistake number 5 is testing the wrong variable or testing too many variables at once. So let's say that you have one ad. There's only one variation of that ad running, which is cardinal sin, but it's going to one landing page, okay? So you got like one ad copy, one creative, one landing page. It's a very clean line. As soon as you start adding in variations, different image creatives, video creatives with the same ad copy, you got more variables, right? And they're all going to go to the same landing page. Cool. But what happens is what a lot of people do is they start playing around with the landing page, testing different ad copy, testing different images, and all of a sudden they don't even know what's moving the needle. And so it's really important to do your best to isolate to ideally, it doesn't have to be one thing at a time per week. Whenever you're testing something, whether it's an A/B test inside the Ads Manager or more of a manual process outside the Ads Manager, you want to make sure that you are learning from that test. So as an example, if you are running 10 different ad copies with a combination of like 4 or 5 different images per, you've got 50 different ad variations running to a landing page. And if you go to the landing page and you look at the opt-in rate and call it 20%, you might say to yourself, something's wrong with this landing page. We have to make it better. But you're missing context because a smarter marketer will look at the ads and understand that each one of those ad variations has a very specific opt-in for that opt-in page. You might have, for the same opt-in page, some of those ads might convert at 60%, some of them might convert at 5%. So if you look at the best performing ads, you'll be like, okay, what is it about them that are crushing? Okay, maybe we do more of that. Or maybe if we wanted to tweak anything on the landing page, we take that messaging and we bring it over here. So now that's more congruent. But what about all those other ads? Well, now they lose a bit of congruency. So what could you do? Well, maybe you could set up multiple landing pages for each ad so the messaging is on point. Anyways, like it's really important to understand that in marketing, it's very like the human body, it's very hard to isolate just one thing. And sometimes we learn the wrong lessons. Another example, if you're running an ad and let's say you're running a optimized for leads, okay? And so you have a long ad and then you have a short ad and the short ad is crushing on CPL, right? Cost per lead is like half. Like, oh my God, this is crushing. Let's do more of that. Hold on though. Here's the thing. Just because you're getting cheaper leads doesn't mean you're getting better ROAS. And so maybe the longer ad has a higher cost per lead, but as you go deeper into the funnel, it's the one that produces results. And so that's why it's really important to understand what's the most important thing that you are actually making decisions based on. A lot of people get enamored by cheap clicks, cheap leads. Cool. But you always get what you pay for in life. So I would much rather run a campaign where I'm paying $100 a lead, where a higher percentage of those leads are booking calls and enrolling, than if I ran a campaign and I'm getting $20 leads and nothing's happening. So this is where you have to understand the full landscape and all the context in the business model that you're running. So when you understand that, you're able to better understand what's happening. What do we have to really test or change in the messaging or the creative to produce more of those buyers instead of those browsers? Mistake number 6. Ogilvy once said, make your advertising look like content and your content look like advertising. So on social media, please understand that anything you put out there that looks like an ad is generally not going to do that well. With the caveat, okay, so I'll come back to this. Facebook and Instagram, just think of like, would I post this? Like if I post this ad or this image, would I natively share this on my profile? And if you wouldn't, then maybe consider not running it as an ad, or at the very minimum, you can test and see what happens. So let's say you took a photo on your phone, okay? Would you take that photo on your phone and add all sorts of texts to it and then post it on your profile? No, you would simply post the picture from your phone on your profile. That's it. But as soon as we start running ads, we start doing stuff like that. And we're like, free training, discount, buy now. Those types of ads are clearly an ad, okay? And it depends on where the user is in the journey. So those types of ads, like very ad looking like ads, might be better off very, very, very bottom of funnel, where someone is very aware of your product or solution and they're thinking about, should I buy? Should I take the next step? Okay, cool. You can consider that. But the higher up in the journey you go, right? So if we're going from product aware being the most aware to like solution aware, problem aware, unaware, the further up you go, the more native it should look. Because people are on social media not looking for ads, they're looking at things that are going to be more native, right? That you have to fly under the radar. You have to fly under the BS ad detector that we all have. But again, you have to test this because there are many examples that will go against what I'm sharing. So as an example, we have run video ads in the past where we clearly at the top had a banner, like a header, right? A headline on the top of the video and then a video. That's not native. Like you wouldn't post a video like that. It's clearly an ad. However, there are times when calling out specifically who this is for and what the benefit is, especially if it's very direct around an offer, can produce very good results. So if it's going to look like an ad, fucking make it look like an ad and just go full into the offer. But if you are a little bit more high up in terms of the stage of awareness, it's going to be tricky. Like you have to really be subtle and you're not going to put an offer at the top of funnel, unaware type of prospect in the same way that you would toward the bottom, right? So generally you want your advertising to fly under the radar. And that's why advertising that works really well is it generally doesn't feel like an ad. Again, there are obviously nuances and exceptions to this, but generally, like even with your writing, when you're writing ad copy, keeping it super conversational, very friendly tone, it doesn't even read like an ad. Generally, will just pull people in a little bit more. And you can take that same concept with your content, right? If your content just flows naturally and it's super chill and native, it's not overly polished, it's not overly produced. it can produce better results. But again, you just have to test this. In my experience, some of the best videos that we have shot are the ones that are the least produced. We have done everything. We've done professional video shoots, all sorts of interesting setups. And then I've done ads with my iPhone, green sweater on, terrible lighting, and it crushed. Generally, ugly works better. Ugly converts better. And I don't know why that is. It's just like this subtle undertone. It's almost just like there's no agenda. It flies under the radar. But again, marketing is all about testing. So even though I'm sharing this with you, you can be like, cool, I get that. Ugly converts better, but test it, right? Test ugly versus pretty and just see what works best for you. But generally, try to make your advertising look a lot more chill. It'll generally produce better results. Okay, mistake number 7 is this is gonna be specific to video ads. So the first 3 seconds of the video are everything. So a mistake I often see is, hi, my name is Yuri, and in today's video, I wanna talk with you about, and everyone's like, who gives a shit? I don't give a shit, okay? So if we think of this video, at the start of the video, I said, hi, my name is Yuri, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a great day. Today we're gonna, you're already done. So you'll notice the start of this video is like there are 7 core or there's 7 deadly Facebook mistakes, Facebook ad mistakes I'm gonna share with you in this video. That's how I'm starting the video. Now in this case, it's a YouTube video, but even in an ad, I'm gonna start in that very same way. Think of it like you're trying to hook them in. You're gonna pull them in those first couple seconds, and they need to know why they're gonna keep watching. So get right to the heart of it. 97% of women with Hashimoto's are making this one fatal mistake. Are you? Hey, my name's Yuri, okay? We hook them in with something, and then we can go into the rest of the content. But if we start with this, like I'm adjusting the camera, I'm like fixing my hair. Hey guys, welcome back. Today, you're toast. It's over. And the same thing applies even with this content here on YouTube. You gotta start with a banger. You gotta get them hooked in. And I made this mistake for way too long. If you look at some of my earlier videos on the channel, we had this bullshit nonsense and then a 10-second branded intro, and it's like drop off through the floor. Like just blow all that up. Just get right to it. It's like a James Bond movie. In the first couple minutes of the movie, they're starting the heart of the action. Same thing with your video ads. So these are 7 mistakes I have seen over the years. Many of these we have made and obviously learned from. I'd love to know from you, which of these mistakes were you not quite aware of, or which kind of ring true for you? Let me know in the comments below. If you've enjoyed this, you want more awesome videos to help you build a successful coaching business online, subscribe to the channel today. We have hundreds of other videos already here and more coming your way to help you do so without the grind or the guesswork. If you have a business right now with a funnel and you're trying to attract high-ticket clients, but it's not quite coming together, today's health business audit can make a huge difference for you. I'm actually talking with a doctor who has a health coaching offer of several $1,000s, but even though he's running ads and he's got the funnel in place, there's just too many leaks in the boat.